Have you ever wanted to paint your own DIY advent calendar on paper? Let's make one. I wanted the image on the front of the calendar to be a snowy house on a winter evening. I made a little rough sketch planning out what would be behind the doors, and then a cleaner A4 size sketch of the house and transferred that onto watercolor paper using graphite transfer paper. I tried to make the masking tape edges thin so they wouldn't take up much space from the actual image. I searched through my building photos and ended up using a photo I took from a ship of the Stockholm coastline. I'll put more house reference photos up on Patreon soon. I painted the background of the moonlit night sky and a forest and the house and the front yard with watercolor. I like advent calendars where when you open the door it's kind of a continuation of the image on the front rather than just a separate illustration inside. I got this idea from a watercolor advent calendar I saw on Instagram last year, and when I actually started working on it I went back to see how the artist made it, but it wasn't in my saved folder anymore. But it must have been a temporary glitch because once I finished my calendar, I checked again and found it. So she did actual doors and windows, and when you open them, you get a peek inside the house or the shop behind the window or door. And that was what I wanted my calendar to be. You can open a window to the house and see who or what is inside the room, or see a slightly altered version of the image, like a bird appearing eating an apple from the tree. Or the terrace gate opens and you see a pair of red boots on the porch. I found it was easier to figure out the placement of the doors by ripping them out from an old advent calendar and putting them on the painting. I traced them onto the watercolor paper with an HB pencil, and then I used a carpet knife on top of a piece of wood to cut open 3 sides of each one so that the doors open towards the center of the image. You could use an exacto knife instead, maybe even small scissors. I made sure to scan the painting before cutting holes into it, by the way. I realized at this point that this is going to be a very delicate advent calendar. It rips easily and you can't spill anything on it or the watercolor starts spreading. Maybe I should do acrylics on cardboard next time instead of watercolor on paper. I took another watercolor paper and taped the pages together to make sure they're aligned the whole time. I didn't glue them together at this point yet though. I traced the doors onto the watercolor paper underneath and then sketched what's inside each door. Now, if you're over it at this point, then instead of trying to match the inside to the outside, just draw or paint separate, unrelated things inside the doors. It's a lot easier. But I sketched things like what's inside the ice hut, something added to the snowman, what are the tracks in the snow on the roof leading to, Christmas lights added to the balcony, that kind of thing. Same base image but altered. I love puzzles like this, so I thought it would be fun as an advent calendar too. But it's also a challenge. If you want to recreate this exact one though, I do have the outline drawing version of the front and the inside page as templates in my Patreon for all members, including the free tier. And I painted the inside page with watercolor too. I wanted to include some special days like a guide dog for the International Day of Persons with Disabilities on the 3rd. There's a Finnish flag on the roof for the Finnish Independence Day on December 6th. Day 10 is Animal Rights Day. St. Lucy's Day is on the 13th. And winter solstice is on day 21, although in some years it's on the 22nd. And once the painting was dry, I glued the pages together with whatever water-based hobby glue this is, just applied it on the edges of the lower page and then pressed them together and piled on some heavy books as a weight. I did pour out way too much of the glue, so I scraped the rest of it back into the bottle. I thought about decorating the white edges with a paint marker since I couldn't cut them off, but I decided the white rim is actually fine. I of course added the numbers out of order so that you actually have to search for the next one. Now the doors are already open and I ended up using little pieces of washi tape to close them. You could use little stickers too, but it might damage the painting more. And you could punch a hole at the top to be able to hang it on the wall. But if you want a faster and a more simple Christmas painting idea, I'll show you how to make snowy Winter City watercolor cards in this video. See you there!